the former chief executive of Turning Point, is now chairman of the NHS Confederation, Lord Adebowale, and I asked him what he made of the scientist's statement.
It's not an unreasonable thing to say. It's just that when you look at jobs and housing, you observe structural racism. It's not an irrational statement. It's just perhaps a little avoidant.
But then in terms of how you tackle it, because his argument, the argument that flows from what he's saying is that what you should be focusing on is the jobs that people are doing and the housing that people are living in.
That's also true. So as a general statement, if we had more affordable housing, everyone would benefit, including black people. But it's also the case that one of the reasons for having more affordable housing is that black people disproportionately live in poorer housing and in overcrowded housing. Both things are true, I guess, but denying one simply to make the statement about the other, it doesn't quite make sense. And certainly in health terms, when I talk about our members at the NHS Confederation, it is the case that most of them recognise that there is a disproportionate impact on black and minority ethnic groups based on their ethnicity.
Is your understanding, your belief, that it is down to racism in the system rather than your genetics?
There's very little evidence for a genetic explanation for the racial disparities in the experience and outcomes for black people, both those from Bangladesh, those from Nigeria, in terms of health and housing. If you look across health, you see these disparities in both experience and outcomes, and the evidence is that racism is clearly part of that challenge. They're not political issues, they're just facts.
So in order to do something about it, what would the government be missing if it focused on jobs and housing?
Jobs is a very good one to focus on, for instance. Your chances of getting to the top, regardless of your level of qualifications, is reduced if you happen to be dark-skinned. Pretending that that's not the case means you're not going to deal with the issue. To sort of say, well, we're not going to accept that racism is part of this dynamic, is setting yourself up to fail.